Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to the Mike Wagner Show at gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We've got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show brings you famous celebrities and amazing people from all over the world. Listen online at themikewagnershow.com and on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And watch the interview on YouTube. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Radio Public, Anchor FM, and iTunes, Google Play, as well as Apple. And take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with a wonderful pair of friends who had met up doing some country songs. And, of course, you can thank social media for all that. And of course, many of us, we meet on Facebook. We greet on Facebook. We become great friends on Facebook. And, of course, become lifelong friends, not just on Facebook, but in person. And just have one of those things where you just treasure friendships forever. Well, we have a gentleman who is a truck driver turned musician from the Washington State area. And we have a fine country Christian singer from who was born in Columbia, South Carolina, now in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's got a brand new hit out, and he's going to be hitting the road. He's got some great music, and he's also worked with a number of great people. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get trumped up for these two people just coming together, lifelong friends for quite a long time, and you'll be very, very amazed. Ladies and gentlemen, live from coast to coast, James Hendry and Kenny Lee. Gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And evening and afternoon.
And everywhere we're at.
There you go. That's the power of social media.
Thank you for having us.
Well, no problem. I mean, truck drivers just go 24/7. It doesn't matter if it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or even like new musicians. So it's just whenever we see people, which is great. So, all right, we have two people here. We have a truck driver turned musician from Washington State, and we also have Kenny Lee from Columbia, South Carolina, now Nashville, Tennessee, and of course, let's talk about how you two came together and tell us how you got both started in music, and maybe you guys can play a little tune for us. But first of all, how did you guys two meet and collaborate?
Hey, Kenny.
Hey, how you doing, Paul?
I'm doing fine, son. Kenny and I met by two songs that I wrote. One is called The Heart of an Angel, and Mike, let me rephrase something you said. I was a musician, singer, then truck driver. But during the trucking, I also kept in the musical era by hauling lighting and staging and doing stuff like upstaging and stuff like that. So I stayed with that for a long time also.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Kenny on Facebook, and I had these two songs, and I was just itching to do something with them. It's just, and when I wrote the first one, it was called The Heart of an Angel. And it came off of a poem that I wrote for my wife many, many years ago. And I wanted to do something to try to put that country heart back into a song. And I got thinking about how I would write a song that would let her know how much I really love my wife. Because years ago I prayed to God for him to send me someone that I can love. But when God sends you somebody, he sends you the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Because he made her. She was made way before I even realized. He knew what was going on. So I wrote the song, and Fred Reed is my manager, and he is on tour today with Florida Georgia Line. He tours with Kenny Chesney, Gary Allen. He's toured with about everybody there is to tour with. And very, very humble man, he and his wife both. And so I wrote these songs and I sent them to Fred, and Fred said, do you have the melody to them? I said, yeah, I do. And he said, well, he said, send them to me. Well, I sent them to him, and then what he does is he gets the songs, the copyrights on them, and gets them sent off. So we get the music, how the song goes, plus the CD or everything we need to do, exactly how the song goes. Then I got talking to Kenny and asked Kenny, would he do these songs for me, do the demos for me? Again, I used to be a singer, and I had the opportunity to work with Mel Tillis and a lot of different artists in my life who I love and still are in my heart. Little Jimmy Dickens. Mm-hmm. And these guys will be in my heart all my life. They something I will never forget, the opportunity that was given to me. Mm-hmm. So I got with Kenny, and Kenny said he would do the demos. So I got with Fred, and Fred's never done this before in his life. I just brought him into this soup that I'm creating, and he ended up getting a hold of Kenny and made arrangements, and Kenny did the demos for me, and the demos sounded so great. And Kenny and I talked back and forth. He says, well, Pop, how's this sound? And he gave it to me on the phone and sang it, and shoot, man, I just choke up. And I said, Kenny, that's great. Then we found out Kenny's daddy is a brother in arms. His daddy died of Agent Orange. Is that right, Kenny?
Yes, complications of Agent Orange.
Yeah, but anyway, so I talked to Kenny, and all at once I realized he was more than a friend, because all of us Vietnam vets are brothers in arms. Mm-hmm. We will be nothing but brothers in arms. We may not have the same political views as each other. We may not have the same ideals as each other. But I guarantee you one thing. Vietnam vets will not let each other down. Never. That's an oath we made when we came home, because America did not, they turned their back on us. All we had was one another. So, and that's kind of how Kenny and I got started. And then after a while, I found out how much I really loved the man. He's more of a son to me than a friend. So we became very close. His daughter has a voice out of this world. And Kenny is, son, you're so talented when you're writing and on your singing, and he's true country. He's what country should be. And son, it's been such an honor for you to do those songs. And so the two songs is The Heart of an Angel and Little Bleedy Bitty Broken Heartache. And he did an excellent job on both of them. You're a perfectionist. He will not let anything go until it hits it right with him. He has sent me stuff and asked me, he says, Pop, what do you think about this? And I'm honest with him. and he does political songs. He did a song about the flag, and my God, it tore my heart out. Mm-hmm. And then some love songs that he has written, where he sung those love songs. He's a very talented man, and he should have his place at Nashville with the big wigs. So I want you to know, son, I love you. And that's how Kenny and I met. That's how we met, and that's how it all started. And I really believe that God puts things together, and when He puts it together, it's done right.
That is amazing as well, too. And Kenny, maybe just give us some of your thoughts as well, too. And we love to hear what you guys say.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you a little about myself here, and then I'll continue with Paul's story there. I've been in Nashville for a long, long time. I was here when I lived in South Carolina. I used to come back for it. But I was up here at real young years, and I worked in a couple of studios up here and played bass, did backup vocals, and whatever was needed. And then I went back home and put a big band together and toured the road for a while and stuff. And then ended up coming back to Nashville, and as a singer, I was signed on a record deal and did the road some more all around, and did really well. Actually, had a few hands out, but I ended up having a big heartache myself, and some things happened that I had to actually quit the record deal, and so I became a music producer. This was years ago. Mm-hmm. I started producing. I was fortunate enough to produce Vern Gosdin, and we became good friends. We wrote a lot of songs together, and I produced several things on him. I produced a lot of people. Lucy Hale from the TV show Pretty Little Liars. I've been very successful as a producer. Nice. Would have been as a singer had I stuck it out, but I mean, it looks like I got a second chance here because, I've lately, since 2016, I've been writing the songs for our president's campaign songs and putting them out and producing them, putting them out. And I wrote one. The Trump card was me, mm-hmm. and the newest one is We're All Trumped Up. And then I did one here not too long ago, I guess about a year ago, The Flag, and that's probably the most touching one I've written ever. I've seen these people kneeling, when they're doing and that bothers me. When I see people disrespecting our flag or our country, I get fighting mad, man. I get really angry because I think about my dad and all those other soldiers who gave their life for their country, who lived with Agent Orange, who suffered and suffered and suffered, and there's many still suffering today. Mm-hmm. Those guys should be on a pedestal. They should be praised for what they've done. Instead, now Trump's really for them, and Trump has always been for them, and that's one of the reasons I got behind him. Mm-hmm. But, anyway, let me get that's just a little bit. That's a whole lot more. But anyway, me and Paul started talking to me, and we talked to Fred and stuff, and I'm always trying to make everything the best I can. I am a perfectionist. I have to admit that because I get so picky about things, and even when I think when everybody else thinks they're great, I still feel like maybe I could do them better. Mm-hmm. It's just the way I am. But I produce a lot of artists, like I said. This is all I do. I record music and produce artists, produce music videos. Actually, a friend of mine, one of the artists, I produced him, and then he just won the video of the year for a song called, oh gosh, my brain's going to have it. I got a brain. But he just won the video of the year at the Josie Awards, and I was the producer on the video. And the name of the song was You. What a great song. But
amazing.
Anyway, Paul is a great man, and he was in the military too, and he fought for his country, and he's kind of like my second Paul. I love him to pieces, but he's been there for me when I start feeling sad and blue about my dad.
Mm-hmm. Man,
helped me through it. Me and my dad were very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to talk enough.
That was amazing, too, and we're glad you two guys were meant together as well, too. And are you guys able to play something a little bit for us? Do you guys have your guitars ready to go?
I don't have, Mike, when I talked to you earlier, I have one in the house. I'm afraid to pick the thing up. I'm afraid it may have I'm afraid a string will break on it. It's so old. But I would love to do something that
there you go. That'll work. I mean, or if you want to sing a cappella, that's great.
Go ahead and let. I'm gonna do Through the Eyes of a Soldier. Let him sing a song if he feels like doing it. He told me earlier he had a little cold going on, so I told him, I said, well, do what you can do. I said, if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But I know him better than that. So go ahead and do what you do, son. See what you can do.
You go first.
All right, well, I wrote this because when I came home, we was spit on, we was cussed out, we was treated like dogs. And I'm not talking about just the people. I'm talking about our federal government. And so it took me over 40 years to write this because I'm the only survivor of my unit that came back home. And I was with the 1st and 7th Air Cav in Vietnam. And so when I came back, I was shot up real bad and messed up. And so I ended up writing this about we old veterans. And it goes for the young ones, too. The only difference is they do not use napalm, thank God. It's unstable.
My.
And thank God. So I wrote this for our veterans. And Kenny and I have been talking about trying to turn it into a song. If we just play music and talk behind it, I think it's worthy. And if I do, I want 100% of the proceeds to go to Disabled Veterans of America, and I want it to go to Honor Flight, to my best organization. So here we go. Through the eyes of a soldier, as only he can see, the battle that's still raging far across the crystal seas. Though he is now old, and his memory's not as sharp as it used to be, but he hasn't forgotten one battle he fought and all the terrible things he's done and seen. Yes, through the eyes of a soldier, his life before the war. He left home just a young man, not much more than just a little boy. Came back as messed up as he could be in hopes to forget all that pain and agony. But he still smells the napalm and the flesh burning in the air. But most of all, to watch a friend fall. Oh my God, that's the greatest hurt of them all. Yes, through the eyes of a soldier, as only he can see, the tears of the little children, their hurt and pain and misery. So to all of our leaders across this land, think of our soldiers and veterans, and then you forge your battle plan. And if you've never been a soldier and you've never taken a stand, then you should not be leading this country. Oh no, you're not the right man. It took me 40 years to write that.
Wow, that is amazing. You know, I think that should really turn into a song. If there's any artists out there or, say, producers that are looking to turn that into a hit single, just get a hold of James Hendry and Kenny Lee, the two best men out there, especially James Hendry, just a terrific songwriter and composer as well, too. And Kenny, we'll get to some of your material as well in just a minute. Listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and Apple. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with a pair of wonderful gentlemen, James Hendry and Kenny Lee. James Hendry from the Washington State area, who's been a truck driver for a while. He started as a musician and getting back into business. He just performed some of his great works as well. Also, Kenny Lee, born in Columbia, South Carolina, now Nashville, Tennessee, and he's been working on some country music, and he's also did some production as well for some work in many greats like Willie Nelson, Ronnie Millsap, Ryan McDowell, Percy Sledge, T.G. Shepherd, and more, and also written songs for such movies as Elvis is Alive, worked along Don Murray, and you also have a number one hit called involving the Trump card, which is about President Trump. So, Kenny, if you got your guitar with you, maybe you can just crank out a song too for us. And James, if you want to join on the singing, feel free to do so.
I wouldn't. I'm going to let him do it. I'm old enough and smart enough to know better.
I love it when two guys collaborate.
Go ahead, Kenny. Do your thing, brother.
Oh, well, I'm not good. I'm going to do... me and Vern Gosling were very close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a remake of one of his songs a while back, and it got pretty popular for me. And just going to kind of do my version of that for you right now. Okay?
Hey, go ahead.
Is it raining at your house? Like it's raining at mine. Do you miss me like I miss you? Is it cloudy all the time? Do you tremble when the phone rings? And you think I'm on the line? Is it raining at your house, baby? Like it's raining at mine. Why does it thunder and lightning? Even when the sun shines, is it raining at your house, honey? Like it's raining at mine. Is it raining at your place? Just like it is over here. And if it is, that sweetheart, like me, I know you're scared. I just called you to console you, like any old friend would do. Is it raining at your house, honey? And by the way, I still love you. Yes, I do. I love you.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, my gosh. That is so amazing.
Mike, you see why I picked the boy.
I think you did a great job. And now I'm going to ask you this, Jimmy. Are you familiar with the song Rainy Night in Georgia? Because Kenny Lee did a great rendition of Rainy Night in Georgia. That's one of my favorites, done by the late, great Brooke Benton. And maybe if you guys can sing it together, and I'd love to hear it. And, of course, I
can try to do it.
Let us try to do something. Hey, Kenny, Let's try to do the song, the Heart of an Angel, a piece of it, okay? And then let's go into a little. You remember it?
I've been doing a lot of other songs, so it's not real fresh in my head.
All right, but I'm going now. People, I'm going to. Old man is going to bellow something out. So here we go. It goes. God put His love in the heart of an angel. Send her to watch over me with a love that's untold in a world that's so cold. Oh God, I thank You for my angel. Now, I did that song, sent it to Kenny, and Kenny redid it and made it better than I could ever do it.
I don't know about that. You do pretty good.
and then the Heart of an Angel, I mean, the Little Bleeding, Beating, Broken Heartache, that song came about in a funny way. I was going, my wife told me, she says, you know, honey, if anything ever happened to me, there'd be no way you know what to do. And I said, I thought something was wrong with her. And I said, honey, is there something you're not telling me? And she said, no. I said, are you sick? She said, no. She said, no. She said, well, I said, well, you sound like there's something wrong. She says, no, I'm just saying you wouldn't know what bills to pay. I said, we owe money? She said, well, of course we do, silly. And so I was out on the road, and I was going down the road, and I was thinking, how can I write a song about this and make it really sound as funny as it turned out to be after we got talking about it? And then how can I make a song to where it would grow and make a hit? And I thought about, well, wait a minute. I remember there's a hole in the bottom of the sea. When I was a kid, my mother told me that. My mother was full-blooded. My mother was Cherokee Native American. Mm-hmm. And my mother's cousin was Carl Smith, the great Carl Smith. And so I got thinking about that song, and I went, well, you know what? I'll make it into a tongue twister. So I got playing around with words, and I was going, well, your heart's little, and there's blood running through it, so it's bleeding, and it's beating all the time, get that blood go through it, and when you get hurt, it's a broken heart. So I came up with Little Bleeding, Beating, Broken Heartache, and that's where it came from. And I love to hear people trying to sing it because they get it all messed up. Even Kenny did. He was saying, Dad, there's too many B's in this thing.
Or try saying it 10 times fast. That's a bigger challenge. Try saying it 10 times fast. I most likely can't do it.
Well, Kenny came up, and so he said, well, do me a favor. He said, send me the verbal words to it, and then send me the melody to it, and let me see what I can do with it. So I sent it to him. He said, well, there's too many B's in it. I said, no, can you I said, son, do me a favor. I said, just do the song. Do it like I did it. And he did. And it turned out wonderful. He really, and then, he changed some words around, which I am honored for him to do that. Listen, I'm in my 70s, and this is what I feel. I feel that God gives us all our gifts. I love my God with all my heart. Without God, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on the wall, and that wall means nothing. Not one thing. That wall is nothing but granite. It's shaped where it's shaped and turned. Everything has a meaning behind that wall. That's what the artist did. But that wall would be nothing but granite if it wasn't for those men and those names on that wall. And I got 12 men on that wall. And if it wasn't for them names, that wall would be nothing but a wall. Those names make it great. So when I get thinking about stuff in my music, I think about what can I do to help somebody, since I've been so blessed in my life. What can I do to help somebody else. I don't need help for myself. What do I need to help somebody else? I got 2 young girls in Mexico, Alicia, and her dad and I met here. Again, another great gift that God sent me. And he's a citizen of the United States now, and his daughter still lives in Mexico. And they sent me a song that they did, and they did it a cappella, and it was so beautiful. And so I asked them, would you be interested in doing a gospel song for me I wrote? And I sent you a copy of it, Mike, just in case you want to play it sometime. You can.
Yes, I did, and it's actually beautiful, very beautiful.
And they did such a great job. But and let's go back to the little bleeding, beating, broken heart. So I got going down the road, and I got singing, I got a little bleeding, beating, broken heartache. And then I got thinking, I'm lost without you. I'm in this big old house, not knowing what to do. You went to see your mother just for a week or 2. Left me with this little bleeding, beating, broken heartache. And honey, I'm missing you. So I got thinking about all the elements in this song I needed. So you need a dog to make a country song. And so I put a dog in it. And then you need some kids. And Kenny turned the dog, he did the way I wrote it. And then with the kids, he says, I fed their kids their breakfast. They were throwing their food. They say they don't like my cooking. They say it's too hard to chew. And I went, that's better than I did. I went, that's exactly what my boys was like. They was young. And this all started back. It was so funny. It all started back when my wife and I first got married, and we lived in Florida. And she wanted to come home to see her mom and dad. And when she came home, that first day I called that poor woman 20 times, because when a woman moves in, everything you have where you know where it's at is gone. It disappears. I didn't know where nothing was. And so I knew where my pizza was when I lived by myself. It was under the bed. My cold drink was on the table, and I had everything in the bedroom with TV, everything for a bachelor to have. But when a woman moves in, the house finally gets organized. And by the way, people, I'm going to tell you something. A house is nothing but a house.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a home until a woman moves in. And when she moves in, she turns that house into a home, and that home has now purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got thinking about all that, and then I got thinking about her leaving and going away. So I added that to the song, her went to her mother, and that's where that came from. So there's a lot of things that came in that song that was an experience of my life. And one thing I got to say, if you give me a word, I cannot write a song, but I can write a song about something that has to do with life, with my life, your life. A guy from Dade City, Florida, Glen Refuge, was in Nashville years ago in the 60s and I think early 70s. Glenn came home. He got tired of it. He got tired of the Nashville scene. Mm-hmm. And he came home and he got tired of people stealing his songs. And Glenn told me this story about this young girl that moved in our hometown, and she was a lady of the night. And he told me the story about it, and he said there was so many times I wanted to talk to her about God, but I was afraid to talk to her what people would say. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, Glenn, you need to be ashamed of yourself. I said, you deny if I'm afraid to mention him on earth, he won't mention me in heaven. And I said, I won't make it. And Glenn said, you hadn't heard the rest of the story. So he was like Paul Harvey and told me about the young girl being murdered, thrown on the side of the road. And I wrote the song. I wrote a song called Dirty Little Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I do things a little different. So I take them when I do something like that, I sat on that thing for a long time, and if it doesn't hit me just right, then I get on my Facebook page, social media, and I ask people, what do you think about this song? And, of course, most women came back and said, well, we just don't like the dirty little girl. Mm-hmm. And then I got all kind of feedback. I get a lot of feedback. And with that feedback, it helps me to understand what I have to do with that song. So now let me show you how that phrase changed. Now, I said the dirty little girl from our hometown, no one would like to hang around. Commercial love is all she ever found, this dirty little girl from our hometown. Now, what I end up doing, I end up changing it to they called her the dirty little girl from our hometown. That changed and triggered the whole thing and made the whole town guilty instead of just her.
Interesting. That's very interesting. And of course, okay. And also, we'll talk. And did you have something else to say, Kenny?
Oh, I forgot.
Kenny, I'll shut up and let you talk, son. I didn't mean to.
I thought you were going to jump. I thought you were going to jump in. That's why I said I was going to say something. But I thought, Kenny, I'm sure you had something to say about that too. So,
when you was asking me a little, Paul's a great writer, and he comes with some great ideas. I love the way he thinks. He thinks very different than anybody else, and it's a real challenge for me to try to bring out musically and everything, what he's thinking. But I can relate to him in a lot of ways because I would say because I was so close to my father, and he's the same type of man. Mm-hmm. So that helped me to relate to what his thoughts and thinking were. And so I just did the best I could. That's all I ever do is I give everything my all, But
Kenny, when you did that song, "The Heart of an Angel," I think you told me when you got to that one point, if you ever take her, you might as well take me too. Yeah, and Kenny said you had to do like 4 or 5 takes on it because every time
sometimes I get so emotionally involved in things especially when I'm performing, and I'm like I'm living it right there, and sometimes it just, I get a little choked up on certain things, But,
Amen.
but it's not a bad thing. It's just showing emotions and feeling, as long as you can understand what I'm saying, But,
let me ask Kenny, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is a song unless you put your heart and your emotions into it?
You got to live the song. If you don't live the song, you can't sing it.
Amen. And that's what true country is all about. True country, in the beginning, there was no such thing as bluegrass. There was no such thing as western. There was no such thing as country. It was all country. Mm-hmm. And then they began to separate it, which was worse. I think, as far as I'm concerned, one of the worst things that ever happened to the music industry when it started being separated.
But they were trying to grow. It was all a money thing. They were trying to grow it out to different genres to make it even bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's not country anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
It's almost like a pop country is becoming a way too. And what period do you think it's starting to get to where country is no longer country? When the breaks start first happening?
In the 70s.
Yep, started about in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. When the 60s rock and roll era, and when they started getting older and not really out on the charts no more, they turned to country. Mm-hmm. And they started doing their own style of country. And the same thing went with the 80s and 90s, and it just keeps going. That always happens. When they outgrow what they're doing, they want to keep going. So they think it'd be easier for them to go to country, but the problem is they're not doing country. They're still doing what they did in the 50s and 60s and 70s, Mm-hmm. So they're not. And the biggest thing I hate to see in country music today is rap. Rap has no place in country music.
Mm-hmm. Never.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I just wrote a song not too long ago about that rap crap, and I call it.
Oh, really? What's the name of that song? And can you play it for us?
No rapping crap for me.
That's appropriate.
We're here in Nashville, Tennessee.
I was going to say maybe you can sing that for us, but just don't rap it.
It wouldn't be rap. Trust me.
Mike, I cut so many songs a year. I cut probably 150 songs a year, and not just for me, but it's like I did for him here, and then but I do that for other people too. I have this one lady I'm doing like 20 songs for, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she just tells me, she said, you do what you want to do with them. You make them fit you, because she wants to put an album out on me, which is cool. I really like that. That was respect. That was nice of her to say that. Mm. But she's, she paid for it and everything for me to do it. Mm-hmm. And just because she respects what I do so much, and she likes what I do so much, and I don't put myself above anybody. I do what I do because I love it. I don't do what I do because I'm trying to get people to brag on me or anything. I just do, and if they do, they just do. But and it makes me smile. But I'm not a bragger. I don't have a big head. I've never had an ego or a big head ever. I just do what I do, and I hope it's good enough for whoever's listening. Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing, too. We'll talk about some of the greats you've worked with, and plus your number one song that's been pretty high on the charts. Listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit our line at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google, and as well as Apple. It's Google Play, by the way. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with two wonderful gentlemen here in the same studio from different coasts. James Hendry, who is a musician, been a truck driver for a while, and still cranks out some great music from Washington State. And we have Kenny Lee, born in Columbia, South Carolina, and now in Nashville, Tennessee. And Kenny, you've worked with some of the many greats like Willie Nelson, Ronnie Millsap, Ryan McDowell, Percy Sledge, T.G. Shepard, Reba McEntire, and more. Maybe you can just tell us about some of the great artists, and who do you think was really the best to work with?
Well, they were all great to work with.
That's a good way to say that, Kenny.
Yeah, I got to show myself here.
Yeah.
No, they were all great to work with, and the one that stands out probably most to me, like I said before, Vern guys, and I was his producer later in the years, and we wrote a lot of songs together. One that comes to mind probably is Mont Eagle, and there's a story behind that. We were on the road, and I started out playing bass guitar and doing backup vocals with Vern years ago, and then I'd go on the road stuff, and I'd open his show a lot too. But anyway, we broke down on Mont Eagle, Tennessee, with the bus. One of those big belts broke, and it drives everything. So we called back to Nashville to have them deliver a belt. So while we were there, I went inside to get a drink, and not a drink, but Coke, and but Vern sat in the bus, and I was checking out. She said, and the lady said, Kenny, what are you and Vern doing here? Just sitting around. I said, well, we got a belt coming. We broke down. And she said, well, you couldn't have picked a better place to break down. I said, well, why is that? She said, the only thing, the legend up here says 1 mile to heaven from here. I said, that's pretty close. So my brain started churning right then, right? So I'm like here talking to myself on the way back to the bus. And I got back in the bus. I said, hey, Vern. They said, in the legend here, they say it's 1 mile to heaven. So I broke out. I started, it's 1 mile to heaven. And Vern went, 100 miles to, let's see, it's 1 mile to heaven. It goes like this, 1 mile to heaven. And Vern went, 100 miles to hell. Vern had the hell, that kind of thing going on. And I went from Mont Eagle, and Vern jumped back in, straight down the Nashville.
I'm going to tell you something you didn't know, son. You ready? My mother was raised on Mont Eagle Mountain.
Really?
Yep. She was raised on Mont Eagle Mountain. My grandpapa was an herbal medicine man, and he practiced herbal medicine right there on top of that hill. They own the old house, the old home place is still there. On Mont Eagle, Tennessee. That's amazing. So I didn't know.
Well,
I got to say something else about Kenny. Kenny, if anybody wants their songs done and they want it done right, I can't think of a better man to do a demo or to do a song for you than Kenny Lee, because he, like I said, he's honest. He has a good heart, and he does exactly what he says he's going to do. He does not he won't try to steal anything from you. He'll give it to you before he takes it away from you. And he's just like me. And Kenny, I'm proud to be called Pop with you. I'm very proud to be called Pop with you. So it's my honor.
It's my honor too.
That is amazing. That is amazing too. And also, you worked with Willie Nelson as well too. And just out of curiosity, what's it like working with Willie Nelson?
Well, I did shows with Willie and off and on, and it's a lot of fun. Willie's a great guy. He's
crazy.
Well, he's crazy,
but very lovable.
Especially when you light one up.
He's great. Yeah, I'll tell you. I don't know if I should say this on the air, but yeah, me and Vern actually started writing a song back then too about Willie.
Oh yeah, you know,
let me recite that to you a little bit.
Go ahead.
Vern died, and that song I was doing a while ago was getting at it. The reason that one came to me because it's the last one he ever recorded. Mm-hmm. And I did all the harmonies with him, and it just come out great. But anyway, this is the one that we were writing together. Okay, is that old Bill tried it once, said he didn't inhale. But he was drowning in white water when they hauled my brother Willie off to jail. Oh, Willie called on Billy, said, pardon me, but can you make him turn me loose? I'll be proud to burn one with you up on the White House roof. That's country. I can tell you some stories, buddy. Those stories are probably best not told on the air.
Well, hey, we can talk about it off the air. That's a good thing. So we can just hold the line here. And of course, we're here to talk about the song as well, too, that you put out, a #1 hit song called The Trump Card. And just tell us all about that one.
Well, that was in 2016. I actually wrote the song. Trump's secretary, one of his secretaries was a friend of mine, and she told me, she said, Kenny, you should write Trump's campaign song. I said, well, that's not good. My dad was my dad was a soldier and everything. And I said, well, let me think about it. I asked her some questions. Well, is he for the veterans? Because that was a main deal to me, And she said, yeah, he's very much for the veterans. I said, okay, then I'm going to think about this. And I decided to go ahead and write it. And I wrote it before he ever announced he was running. And it just so happens to be everything I wrote in that song is what he stood for. And we put it out on the radio, and all the radio stations wouldn't play it. And you probably didn't play it. You probably didn't even get it. But a lot of them did, and it became a #1 hit on the mainstream country radio and stuff. As you can play it here if you like for them. And anyway, it led up to me meeting with the president himself. Well, he wasn't the president then. But I was at my mother's house and helping her do chores, and my father had died. Mm-hmm. And trying to do the chores that Dad used to do. It's hard for me to talk about my dad. But anyway, but I was trying to take his place and help her because she didn't have anybody. She lived out on the farm by herself. So I go out there at least once or twice a month, all the way from Nashville to South Carolina, Camden, and try to do that. And anyway, I was there one time. I wasn't prepared to go meet Donald Trump at all. Mm-hmm. But I made a preliminary trip where I went around to all the campaign offices and handed them out the music too, and introducing myself, so they knew how to get a hold of me. So they called me up and said, Kenny, we need your Social Security number and all your information. And I said, well, why would you need that? She said, we have to vet you. I said, really? Why? She said, Donald Trump wants to meet you and thank you for this song. He wants to do a photo op. And so that kind of worked out. And Irene got everything arranged and everything. And she still works for me today and a lot of stuff. We're doing some shows and stuff, and she handled a lot of it. But she was setting up a lot of his events and stuff, too. So, anyway, I went in there, and I was very intimidated, but I didn't show it. But you know.
At least he didn't say you're fired. At least he didn't say you're fired, which is good. So
this is very important. You got to know this. In that picture, that is where the thumbs up started. We took that picture 8 times. He kept going back and forth. And the eighth time is when he decided to throw up his thumb, and I followed him. And then he said, "That's it."
That is something as well too.
Well, his new song, your new song, we're all trumped up.
Finish this one. Let me finish this one. Hang on, let me have it, Pa.
All right, I'll shut up, son.
Just for a minute, because I want to tell the story a little bit more.
All right.
So then I ended up doing events for Donald Trump and about round. I ended up singing it at the White House. I ended up singing at Mar-a-Lago. I ended up singing all around New York and the Trump Towers and everywhere. It was just going crazy and going strong. And we did what we called the Trump Car Tour. And I actually think I helped him get elected in a lot of ways. People say I was responsible for millions of votes. But there's no proof to that.
You sure wasn't fake news or something?
It could have been. But anyway, I did what I did because I wanted to do it. And I'm a very, very, very big patriot.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm true. I'm red, white, and blue American, man, all the way.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyway, that's that. Go ahead.
My turn?
I think that wasn't mentioned a long time, but I guess you could say so. So go ahead. It's like we never say it's your turn, so you just jump in. Feel free to do so.
He's talking. Your new song is great.
It's called "We're All Trumped Up," and it's already went viral on YouTube. I wrote it to more like pump people up. It starts out with USA, and all that. But I'm going to give you these songs so you can play them if you want, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I tell you I think is closest to my heart is "The Flag," and I definitely want to sing you that one. I think, that's all right. That's a good. Paul, I'll tell you that thing will bring tears to your eyes.
Okay, go ahead and play it.
Oh, I can't. I can't do that right now. But I'll send it to you.
Okay.
That way you can play it on there later. He did honestly tell me, Mike, that, and when I was talking to him, I know my boy, and you could tell he's a little rashy on the throat today, so it's probably because he talks too much.
Maybe he got from that someone special in Washington State being on the road a lot. Could that be?
You know what? It could be, but the amazing thing is, somebody told me one time, they said, I felt like I've known you all my life, but I really never met you face to face. And I told him, I said, well, I never met Jesus face to face, but I'll tell you one thing. I know he was with me, and he's always been with me, and I don't have to meet him face to face. I have seen him in action. And I said, I've seen him in a place called Southeast Asia. And some of the hottest places you could ever be in your life that nobody wanted to be there. Mm-hmm. So I said, Kenny and I have never met face to face, but if God's willing, one day that'll happen. And we will. You and I have met face to face 2 or 3 times already.
That was before the Mike Wagner Show, and you all can come out anytime. We can do a live version of it too on the video. And I've got a little studio, and where I will be, and you'd be the first to be in my studio doing the Mike Wagner Show, and it'd be such an honor if you did that.
Right.
And you too, Kenny. Come on down too. You're welcome. Also.
Oh, I'll do it.
So,
Hey, can I put a little plug in for a concert coming up?
Absolutely.
Okay, October the 26th here in Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm doing a concert. I'm headlining, but we got Razzie Bailey also performing, and we've got Early Mandrill and a lot of other big artists, great artists and stuff. And it's called the American Celebration Tour. Now, if you want to look it up, get tickets, anybody out there, it's called the AmericanCelebrationTour.com is all you got to do. And you go in there and get tickets to it and everything. But what we're doing, I'm sick of all this stuff that everybody's complaining about, fighting about. Everybody's fighting with each other. Come on, we're Americans. Let's pull together.
amen.
That's what this is all about. It's everybody needs to respect each other. Now there's someone that's really, really way out there that's just hard to respect them, but they just need a little more Jesus in their life, and maybe they'll come around. Mm-hmm. But things have got, I don't want to get too political here, but things have gotten a little out of hand. So I decided with a few friends of mine, let's put some concert tour on, and we'll be doing 12 of these next year.
Okay.
That celebrate us being Americans.
Amen.
The American Celebration Tour. We celebrate together. We bring the ones who want to listen to come in, and hopefully they'll see the light where the morals and everything has been going on in this country. We gotta fix that. And I've noticed that even the children are being fed crap now. Like they think that America's going to be gone in 8 to 10 years. That bothers me when I see that. They're being brainwashed. There is a lot of fake news out there. Mm-hmm. And they might be listening right now. You fake news people need to get it straight. Start telling the truth. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
And I have to say this, what you guys are presenting is not fake news. You guys are the true thing. I have to say that. I congratulate you. You guys are the real deal.
Thank you. I'm just me.
There you go.
That's all. God, somebody asked me one time, and this is so true. And they said, why are you so blunt, and why are you so, always acting like you do? And I said, well, let me tell you something. I said, my grandpapa had the greatest influence on my life. He was a POW in Germany. He was gassed in World War II. His name was Gene Hendry, and he's still my hero. He'll be my hero till I die. And everybody that knows people that like your people like my grandpapa, I know him personally. I lived with the history. When I die, and all of us die that met him, then he will become the history. But I just finished something about my grandpapa, and I for some reason, my old age, I'm starting to remember all this stuff. It's starting to come back to me. But grandpapa would get up every morning, and he would read his Bible, and he'd pray. And then he would say, a new day's being born. A new day's being born. He said, every day's a new day. He told me about being a POW, and I was waiting on the rest of the story, and I asked him, I said, well, Grandpapa, when are you going to tell me the rest of the story? And he simply said, son, it's not worth telling. That was a long time ago. Today is a new day being born. So I just wrote something called A New Day Being Born, because all this stuff is coming back to me in my old age. Plus, I'm raising my grandsons. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Now I'm returning that blessing that was given to me, and my grandsons need me just like I needed my grandpapa. Mm-hmm. And then when I came back home, my grandpapa said, don't forget. The new day, there's a new day being born. Don't worry about what happened over there. We're here now. Mm-hmm. It's a new day, son. He said, I know you went through a lot. And he was a great man, Everything that happens in our lives, happens for a reason and a purpose. Mm-hmm. And we got to use it to grow on, not to go backwards, but to grow forward and keep on pushing forward. And Kenny, what you said about the kids and stuff, you're 100% right. Our education system is letting our children down too. they're not teaching the true American history. They learn more about European history than they do true American history. And we need to know true American history. We need to know what made this country great. And what made it great is going to keep on, it's going to have to continue to happen. And the Constitution, that thing was written for a purpose. And I took an oath on that. And that oath was to uphold that Constitution. And you know what? It's been amended so many times, it's no longer American Constitution. Mm-hmm. I'm all 100% for Donald Trump because he wants to bring it back where it's supposed to be, where it was originally written, and go back to the original laws. And it needs to go back to the original laws. Mm-hmm. And if you think, how can you fix something that's not broke? They're trying to fix something that's not broke, and they're making it worse. Mm-hmm. For to line their own pockets and their own benefits. So
it's terrible. It's terrible.
And is okay. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I do have one I wouldn't mind singing. If I can get it out of my code here.
Absolutely. Let's throw in one more song here.
Yeah, this is the song I wrote about my grandson that passed away. And it's called "I'll Be at Home with Jesus in the Morning." And we talk about the children in this country and stuff. That people don't realize how sacred those children are. They don't realize how important these children are. They're our future, and we've got to set an example for them. You younger folks listening today, you have got to set an example for your children. I mean, this world will cease to exist if you don't. But anyway,
amen.
This is my guitar's lit up too. Wow, we're with it. As I bow, whoops, sorry, that cold got me. As I bow my head and say my prayers tonight, this pain is swelling deep within my chest, knowing that tomorrow will never come. Lord, take me home, it's time for me to rest. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. I can't wait to see the angels flying there. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. Elias will be waiting for me there. We never got the chance to shop at Walmart. I never got to teach him how to fish. Watch him drive the golf cart with his sister. His life is gone and over much too quick. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. I can't wait to see the angels flying there. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. Elias will be waiting for me there. That little choke up, sorry. The little boy is blown away. God needed him. That's what they say. I guess it's true. But God, I need him too. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. I can't wait to see the angels riding there. I'll be at home with Jesus in the morning. Elias will be waiting for me there. Elias will be waiting for me there.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Sorry, I choked up a minute.
You know what? I was on the verge of tears, I have to say that, except I couldn't find my stinking Kleenex. That was just amazing. Oh, my gosh, that was so amazing. That was so amazing. Guys, you just been fantastic. Love to have you on again. And we're going to say something, Kenny?
Yeah, I wrote that the actual day that he died.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm very sorry about your dad. Sorry about your grandson, but they'll be all up in heaven as well, too. So, yeah.
My grandson.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Kenny, you know what? Let me ask. I got to ask you a question for the whole world to hear.
Yes, sir.
Is he still in your heart, son?
Oh, yeah. They are.
What? He's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
He's still in your heart. He's still alive. He's just like all of my men, my grandpapa, my grandson died in my arms, and he was 18. And I watched him fade away. So, and Tommy's still in my heart. He's still just as alive as he was if he was standing right in front of me. So we always thank God for what we have, not what we lost, because without him, we wouldn't have no memories. We wouldn't have none of this. Mm-hmm. And so this is so important. I'm going to plug one more thing, and then I know you need to get off here, Mike, and I know Kenny has
well, you know, you said earlier, you know, there's a reason, always a reason, and there's, you know, and people were saying, well, there's a reason. And I start out talking when we first heard that song, you know, there, you know, well, tell me the reason. I never could understand the reason why a young, helpless little boy would die like that. You know, not everybody.
You know what?
But I do. I understand, but I don't understand. You know. And
well, this is.
I know we got to roll on. Go ahead.
This is what I think when I talk about my Tommy. Tommy had a rough life. He moved in with me, and I really became daddy to him, and I raised him, and he was. I taught my grandson the gospel and baptized him. And I know Tommy, he really worked hard to do what's right. He had a rough life with his daddy, and he really worked hard to do what was right. And so I don't know. I have never questioned why it happened. For some reason, I go back to Job, and God said, you can do anything to my servant Job when he was talking to Satan, but one thing, you can't take his life. It tells me that God doesn't do that. Satan takes lives. He's the one that causes misery, heartaches, and pain. I know that for a fact. So, but because the word says it. So I don't know. I've never questioned God why that antenna on a AM, FM radio on the pickup went through over his glasses into his eye. I don't question why that happened. Yeah. All I do is thank God that I had him and had him in my life, and I know that he's with my Lord. And that's all. And maybe he couldn't stay. Maybe he couldn't stay. You know, maybe he couldn't stay faithful. I don't know. That's not me. Not me to ask.
So what I came to later with my situation is that I just felt like God just needed an angel up there.
Amen.
Amen.
And my mama, they asked me when I had my heart attack in Cheyenne, and I was in the hospital. Lady asked me, she says, your mother died of a heart attack? I said, yeah, she did. She said, do you think your mother's watching over you? And I looked at that cardiologist. It was a redheaded lady. I'll never forget her. What a wonderful lady. And she said, do you think that that your mother's watching over you? And I said, Lord, I hope not. She says, why would you say that? I said, let me ask you a question. Do you have a son or children? She says, I have a son, and he's in college, and he's going to be a heart specialist like me. And I said, would it be heaven or hell for you to watch your son have a heart attack? And that woman broke down and wept. And she says, I will never ask that question again in my life. She said, I've never looked at it that way. I said, my mama's in heaven, and I know my mama don't have no pain. And if my mama seen me having a heart attack, my mama would not be in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And that she said, Mr. Hendry, you came in our life for some reason. I don't know. She said, she said, you're going to be okay. We're going to take care of you. And I came close to death so many times in my life that it's not even funny. Yeah. I know that God has us here for a reason and purpose, and everything understand, he says, happens for a reason and purpose. I don't know, Kenny, but, there's a reason and purpose, like you said. Another beautiful voice in heaven.
Yes, and when that happened, I'm gonna just be. I actually got mad at God. I was upset. I was talking angry to God, and I even got down on my knees and I begged God to take me and bring him back. I begged, but God has a purpose for him, and I had no reason.
That's right.
That's right.
I was just upset, and I was, and it's like when I walked to my father, and I barely made it there before he passed. When I left him, he was getting better, but I got back and he had holes in his lungs. He said he's not going to make it, and he's been hanging on to tell you bye. I whispered in my dad's ears, and he hadn't made a move in hours. Right? Couldn't be all hooked up and everything. I whispered in his ears, "Daddy, I'm here." And he raised his head out of bed and looked at me, almost like he was either asking me for help or telling me goodbye. Mm-hmm. I couldn't, to this day, I don't know which it was, but at least he got to look in my eyes one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something, Kenny?
Yes, sir.
I'm a veteran. Your daddy was telling you goodbye. So I'll tell you that, okay?
Yeah, I thought...
Because I had to do the same thing. So I really... That's weird you said that, because when Grandpapa passed away, he was in the VA hospital, and he was down in Naples, and he wouldn't talk. He hadn't talked to nobody. And I got there, and he grabbed me by the hand, and he said, "Look at those quail." Man, we was up about 9 stories up in the air. And I said, "Yo, Grandpapa, they're beautiful." He said, "Yes, they are." And that was it. Yeah. And that's how I remember.